Let me describe to you a scenario, and you tell me if this sounds familiar. The alarm goes off. In the morning, you're up. You stumble bleary-eyed toward the kitchen. And while you are waiting for your coffee to brew, you turn on NBC or Good Morning America. Maybe you scroll through Twitter. Honestly, whatever you go to for that fast news. And before you've even had caffeine, you are reminded that the world out there is still broken. There are wildfires out west, and there are typhoons in the east. There are heat waves taking lives in Europe and in Africa, and there's gun violence taking them here. And if you live in Athens, Clark County like I do, you eventually get in your car and you drive past pockets of some pretty obvious needs on your way into work. And I know you because I am you. In the aftershock of this daily dose of tragedy, you think to yourself, my heart breaks. I want to get involved, but where do I even begin to wade into the mess? The local mess, the global mess. Let's get specific. Do you know the cause that is nearest and dearest to you? If I were to say, shout out your cause, do you know what you'd say? And if so, do you know the organizations, and there are probably dozens who participate in that work? And if so, do you know which of those agencies will do great things with the resources you would give them, the check you'd write, the hours you'd serve? The question, where do I begin, can be a daunting way to start your morning, and before you've even had 10 minutes in a row to think about it, you're interrupted. Or maybe the routine kicks back in, overriding the moment, and you're off to the next thing. It is, therefore, a unique form of paralysis that has ensnared the digital age, whereby we are exceedingly well informed. Access to information is not our problem, but we are ill-equipped to participate. So we are well informed, but we're ill-equipped. So how do you cross the chasm between an information-induced paralysis and our meaningful participation? That is a question worth wrestling to the ground. Having worked in various aspects of community development for years now, first in the public sector, and then in ministry, and now, believe it or not, at a local brewery, I have some experience in helping others cross this chasm, but I believe it is a rock star turned folk hero who has been illuminating the way for decades, and perhaps you've heard of him. His name is Bono. In 1996, Bono the man and U2, really the institution, helped a 15-year-old version of Matt Stevens begin crossing this chasm. And that was before, it must be said, I particularly cared for their music. I wasn't a U2 fan at the time. I am now. Rather, I saw in Bono a man who believed what I believed and critically, who leveraged his visibility with great integrity, which caused me to lean in, which subsequently changed the direction of my life. So we're going to be talking for a few minutes this evening about the legacy of Bono. But before we go there, a small but critical caveat. Promoting your own charity, altruism, philanthropy in the digital age can be a slippery slope. We tend to lean away from self-promotion, particularly of this type. So a useful distinction. There is doing good to be seen, and then there is the power of being seen doing good. And I believe one is better than the other. And I think we know which is which. We know grandstanding, peacocking, whatever you want to call that, when we see it, don't we? And we know authenticity when we come across that as well. So hold on to that idea, and let's go back to Bono. Bono has, for nearly half a century now, been harnessing the power of being seen doing good. What he figured out once upon a time is that while people come out for the music, he has an opportunity while they're there to impress something more than the music upon the crowd. The reason Matt the teenager had even heard of War Child or UNICEF or the many causes he champions is because Bono is simply comfortable in his own skin, being seen, doing good. From the stage and on the page, in interviews and in conversations and TED Talks, he has pointed us back and back and back again to the potential that lies both within our visibility and our influence. And I have come, in fact, to describe all of this as the Bono effect. Because taking a person from apathetic to engaged, from paralysis to participation, seems to be the effect that spirals in Bono's wake. And after 25 years of observation, me just watching Bono do what he does, and more than a decade now of application, I have discovered the framework necessary to produce this effect, and I have broken it down into actionable steps. So let's jump in. To initiate the Bono effect, first you must spotlight the need. And why? Because nobody participates in the solution to a problem they don't know exists. Self-evident, I suppose, but I'll say it again just in case. Nobody participates in the solution to a problem that they don't know exists. The problem in Athens, Clarke County, my home, is poverty. Everything that feeds into it and everything that flows downstream from it. Poverty, in short, is the knot we have long been trying to unravel here. On the first day of my nonprofit management program here at the University of Georgia, the department head at the time, he stood up and he made this fantastic statement. He said, "Studying the nonprofit sector in Athens, Georgia is akin to studying Shakespeare in London." It's the perfect setting, he said. Because we're in this strange living laboratory with deeply entrenched need on the one hand, and that of course is a bad thing, but this generous, vibrant community working to meet that need on the other hand, and that's a good thing, but guess what? Nothing's changing. We have been told emphatically even that there is a surplus of solutions here, but a lack of alignment. Too many people are doing too many things, and so we're all scattering our resources about too thinly. Meanwhile, did you know the poverty rate in this county is double the state's, and get this, triple the nation's? Triple the nation's. Did you know that we have a foster care crisis in this county? There is a massive gap between existing resources and current need. I could go on. Here's the point. It took me obtaining a master's degree in nonprofit management from the University of Georgia, studying this county, for me to learn any of this. It should not take all of that, but there it is. Nobody has been participating in the solutions to these problems because not enough people know they exist. So we've got to spotlight the need. We've got to ask, quite literally ask, did you know ... Because as we've learned, not everybody knows. However, you can't leave people there, informed, disturbed maybe, but helpless. So then you've got to stir them up. You've got to create some emotional energy. Now that you know what the need is, dear neighbor, perhaps there's an opportunity for you to get involved. So here follows my attempt to stir you up. We'll see how this goes. In Athens, we have this simple expression. It's become, in fact, a bit of a town motto. Athens, I love you. You'll see it on t-shirts and on bumper stickers and on jewelry. And by the way, you will find city slogans like these everywhere when you start looking for them. I heart NY. I believe in Nashville. Keep Austin weird, keep Portland weird, and yeah, that Greenville. The people who purchase these t-shirts and these bumper stickers to spread these messages, it's their way to communicate, these are my people. These are my roots. This is my town. This is my home. They love their city. And people who love their city should have a plan to support the city they love. You should be, I should be more than a resident. more than just someone who happens to reside here. You should be, I should be, we should be citizens. And what is a citizen exactly? When you break it down, citizens are those who have come to embrace both the brilliant and the broken pieces of their community. They own the good, they own the bad. Citizens take ownership of the lovely and the ugly. Aristotle captured the idea of citizenship using the Greek term eudaimonia. Eudaimonia, translated to mean the state of human flourishing. In Aristotle's Athens, citizens were likened to the oarsmen of a ship, pulling and propelling their community in a common direction, each with purpose, each with dignity. That's a citizen, he said, and I agree. Did any of that stir you up? A little bit. I hope so, but if so, you can't leave people there either, can you? Saying now that you know, now that you care, quote, get involved, unquote. It's not going to get it done, is it? It's too vague. So here we go. After spotlighting the need and after creating some energy around the need for a solution, you've got to simplify the options. You got to invite that person to take this step today. And that step, whatever it is, should be obvious and easy. You want to lower the bar to the floor if you can. Just a couple questions to get us thinking in that direction. For all the individuals in the room, which is everybody, I suppose, so this one's an all skate. Instead of where do I begin, I recommend this question. What is but should not be? What is but should not be? What breaks your heart? What do you have a burden for? Is it climate change? Is it hunger relief? Is it a medical condition? What should not be? Wrestle with this question for 10 minutes in a row. Set a timer if you need to, because questions like these have a way of cutting through the noise and teasing out the tension, and you'll no longer be asking, where do I begin? You'll have begun. For all the leaders in the room, or you future leaders, I recommend this question. Does my organization, my company, my foundation, my church, do we have a plan to support the city we love? It's a fair question. Can you say what it is precisely you do to give back to the community that's been so supportive of you? And why it is you have chosen that route? And if you want to leap that highest hurdle, and I think that you should, can you cite any data to support your approach? Because that, what plus why plus data, is a plan. At least it is in every other area of our lives, and so why not here? And here's a follow-up question, and I am meddling now. Whatever it is you're doing to give back, are you only doing it to be seen? Is your philanthropy really just marketing in disguise? Do you want to make a statement, or are you committed to making a difference? Only you know the answers to these questions. I work at a brewery here, as I mentioned, here in town called Creature Comforts. And when we opened our doors years back, we knew full well that what it is we know how to do is brew what we think to be extraordinary beer. But why we existed was to try to position ourselves in such a way as to serve and impact the community around us. We hoped one day people would think to themselves, you know, Athens is better because Creature is here. And through the years, we've wrestled with this question. What is our plan to support the city we love? What we quickly learned is that while there is an infinite list of worthy causes in this community, discomfort emerges whenever any need goes unmet. So years back, we launched an initiative that we call Get Comfortable, We set out to determine the greatest local needs. We did the legwork. We drilled down into our county's comprehensive plans and needs assessment data because it was only once we understood the need that we could select the agencies doing the most to meet it. And it was only once we had identified these programs that we could then turn to our customers and our business peers to concentrate our generosity around this pressing work. Don't miss this. By absorbing the complexity of social innovation, by making serving simple, people are beginning to respond. In the past few years, we, including many people in the room tonight, have collectively mobilized nearly $2 million, and we have placed those resources into the hands of those who are addressing the greatest local disparities. We've cleared waiting lists. We've doubled agency capacity in a few cases. But all we've done is we have planted the lightning rod that channels the resources where they matter the most. All we've done is we have harnessed the power of being seen, doing good. All we've done is we have simplified the options. Bottom line. When you prompt that person in the morning, sipping their coffee and asking the question, where do I begin? When you walk them through this continuum and you suggest where to begin, they tend to take the step you've provided. No, we're not Bono. We're not celebrities. We're not millionaires. But each of us has an audience. Each of us, like him, can leverage our visibility, however big or small, with great integrity, and therefore, each of us can produce the same effect. Can you imagine if all of us, just in the room tonight, had a plan to support the city we love? Imagine if we all took 10 minutes to pinpoint how it is we are uniquely positioned to serve others, and then we took whatever that was and we turned it loose. Can you imagine if we did all this in alignment, coordinated, like the oarsmen of Aristotle's Athens? If we did, I believe we would see the wounds of the world begin to heal. Because there is power in being seen, doing good. Thank you for your kind attention this evening.